Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Afterparty, where we get to talk all about the Bullseye Games and Small Key Island.
Wee!
Wow. Amanda, I think it's important to say where we are right now.
Yes, me too. We are in Eric's mom's guest room, sitting side by side. What else was I supposed to say?
No, it was a fun way to say it.
It's just something about saying it.
It's funny that you said the guest room because my mom's like, this is the shrine for you and your brother, so you can just stay here outside of this door. First of all, I'm looking at a 2008 Join the Party live poster right now,
Wow.
which is signed only by Amanda for some reason.
I never noticed that.
2018. Sorry.
18. I was like,
Yeah, I
what?
Join the Party is actually a derivative work.
Oh.
That's why I get all the IP royalties.
It's weird that it got signed just by Amanda in 2008.
Yeah, I came up with Join the Party in 11th grade, and I've been living off the residuals ever since. 2018, so that's there the entire time, so I get to look at all of our Campaign 1 stuff. And then next, behind that, outside, is a armoire that has only photos of my brother and I on it. Could I say there's 20? Yes, I could.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
truly a rich depository of Amanda visiting for the first time and seeing pictures of wee Eric.
It's an experience.
Is the photo hanging up behind y'all the one that's clearly a stock photo? But that's a photo of you and your brother, right?
Oh, yeah, it's me and two other guys wearing 1950s style suits. Yeah.
On the beach or something.
I like that
Yeah,
vibe.
just in the desert. Is it like Jewish gangsters building Las Vegas? It feels like it.
tight.
Again, a shrine to Eric.
Things that Eric
Yeah,
loves.
Well, guys, we have so much to talk about because in this after party, we're talking about not just our beginning of the arc where we get the note and Brandon visits Fun Mandy Potash and we meet Lucky Edie and we discover this shipwreck, but everything that goes through it, Nonny's miraculous death and rebirth, and the first round of the Bullseye Games. So, a lot to get to.
So much. I'm so excited.
Well, time to take a break. Let's go get a refill.
My favorite part is, hey, Brandon, just sing the girl from Ima to yourself for a little bit.
Okay.
My favorite part about Brandon playing characters on Dungeons and Dragons and Tabletop RPGs and Join the Party is that 50% of the time his characters do exactly what Brandon would do. And 50% of the time they do the opposite of what Brandon would do, which is usually when he opens up his mind to just access the plane of chaos and see what falls out. Now, let's play a game here. Would Umbi do the same thing as Brandon, which is look at a bunch of people with swords and say, what the fuck's your deal, my guy?
You guys actors?
You seem fake. What is that?
That strikes me as eminently Umbi. Yes.
I think Brandon would also do the same thing.
I'm not going to take this lying down in this after party because that is fully reasonable to say.
Absolutely not.
And I did not say it in that manner. Umbi asked politely what the deal was. Look, Eric, here's the thing. Again, I will say again.
Are you even a real podcaster? You look weird.
Yeah, that's a good example, Eric. If we told people we were podcasters and then instead of you holding a microphone in your hand right now, you're holding a banana, people would say, are you sure?
Now, what in this metaphor, which is so perfect and explained exactly what you were talking about, what was Fun Mandy Potash holding that was confusing you?
They were dressed very like fancifully and like very fancy piratey, like high pirates, I'll say.
Right. Because famously, pirates would not dress nicely. If
Yeah,
they
they're
were
in
rich.
they're in gym shorts.
Hey,
And
Julia,
famous.
have we met any pirates in our world so far that have dressed as nicely as they have?
No, but she's also from the golden age of pirates, and we have like the leftovers from the golden age.
Mm-hmm.
Julia, could you also check the transcript and see if I said that explicitly?
Yes, I think you did. 'Cause
Okay,
I just
yes,
did it yesterday.
Good. Thank you for checking the transcript. I appreciate that.
Malignant Sloth brings up a very good point, which is would Umbi not have seen some fresh pirates back when he first went to the Great Salt Sea?
That's exactly what I was going to say next, which was nobody except for Eric can tell me I'm wrong because I was the only one that was there.
Well, luckily Eric
I was
has told you you're wrong, so.
Listen, man, it was still very funny, and I enjoyed it a lot. Just like, you know, you and your character are the same. Everyone who plays a PC are the same in some ways. It reveals parts of it. And listen, that's just some of Brandon's fun flair is he'll make an assumption that it'll be really funny. Like, for example, Umbi being cold for an extended period of time.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's get to that. So we did not know what each other's messages were. You, the listeners, got some special, I was just going to say messages from the grave. That's not true. You got some special post-production pickup where you got to know what the messages are. And so I'm like, oh, Umbi must be making an excuse as a grandpa who's always cold and wants to go back to the ship. Brandon, would you care to take us through your experience of the Lucky Edie?
Oh yeah, my experience was that I got the note from Eric, and there was this isn't a technical term, but sort of disambiguation on the comma usage or the grammar.
Yeah, this is on me.
No.
It's on me.
It was not on Eric. It was like a quirk
ambiguity?
of the English language.
Hey, Anglo-Saxons, get your fucking shit together.
Get fucked.
It was about like, I forget if it's a pronoun or what, but like, you know, like a word that was referring back to a word previously in the sentence, and it didn't. It's ambiguous what it was referring to. So
okay, here is the message. Edie is a young whippersnapper. I dunno. Who cares? Whatever. I'm thinking of a new bomb, comma, maybe it's really cold with 3 question marks.
yeah, so the "it's" there could refer to a new bomb. It could refer to like the environment, which is how I read it.
It's technically true.
You don't say maybe you always say maybe it's really hot outside. You don't say maybe the outside is very hot. You know what I mean?
Brandon, I like it regardless of how you read it because it does come off as like, I'm thinking of a bomb. Maybe it's a cold bomb. I'm cold now. And that's it. It's great. Brandon, it was great.
What if I made other people really cold? Oh no, I'm cold. Where's my sweater?
And listen, this shit is funny. And as another of the cast whose misunderstandings frequently cause humor in this show, I think it's brave, Brandon, to allow your misunderstanding to stand because it made incredible podcasting.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Multitude survey, and the thing that makes us stand out from other podcasts is that 2 out of 3 of our PCs misunderstand more than every other podcast. And that makes us stand out. It's
But
good.
we have a Julia, so it all
we
evens
have a
out.
Julia, yeah.
And that's why they're called personal computers, Eric. So it makes sense.
True.
It was good. It was good stuff.
No, but Eric, I really like that as an idea of explaining to characters what their past experience with a NPC that is established is. Because, like, a lot of times, you know, you just get the characters to interact with the new NPC and you're like, all right, well, like, you just figure out what the vibe is. But I really liked the idea of rolling for charisma to see how aware of the situation, like social awareness as a role is wild to me, and I really loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dungeons & Dragons can do a lot of things, one of which it's super flexible. The 6 abilities cover almost everything you can think of in role-playing. I know that we could talk about what the hell is the difference between wisdom and intelligence, actually, because it's not perfect, but it sure is wide-ranging.
You're telling me that Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast, the brainchild of what Wizards of the Coast called Dungeons and Dragons, isn't perfect?
No, it's not. It's certainly not.
I don't
think so,
Weird.
Eric.
I've never said that before. But you can make it happen for whatever it is. You don't have to follow the abilities. You can make a roll to be whatever. Because, it's more about also just like moving stuff forward, right? It's like you just need to know how much you plus and minus your roll. And I was like, hey, let's see who's the most aware in this particular situation. And then I wanted to do something that I've seen on Dimension 20 in the Mice and Murder campaign. They did a lot of like secret information because it was like a murder mystery. Mm-hmm. But they were texting each other and then they would put the text message on screen, which I mean is a trick that so many TV shows and movies have done about texting. But I hadn't seen it before in podcasting. Mm-hmm. So Brandon and I worked that out, and it was really fun. I'm really happy with how it came together.
Now, nobody has noticed yet, but if you look at your podcatcher, your phone, while you're listening at that moment, it will pop up and say the text message. So,
And then it will say, go to 20sidedstore.com and use code PIRATE for 20% off your order.
Yeah, we put a mid-roll in the text message.
Man, I wish that's how the technology worked.
Yeah.
And then it will say, give Brandon $20. And that's great. I've made no money.
I'm really stoked with how it came out. We actually took that from, or my example was for a game that they were playing on Hey Riddle Riddle, that they did something like that to like talk about secret information and tell it to the audience. But I hadn't seen it like in conversation like this before, so I'm pretty stoked about it.
Yeah,
It was very cool.
It's always super fun to have a little secret in the game.
My favorite part of the whole thing was when Eric did the pickups for talking to the audience about what was happening, and you were like doing a couple different takes of like how to say it. And if you listen to the bloopers, which I'm not sure if they're out yet, but they will be soon if they're not already.
They are.
They are. There's one at the very end, I think, where Eric is like, "Not clickbait." Brandon's text message reads, it's really funny.
Yeah. Very, very good.
Good shit.
Doing the extra stuff is the fun part. I mean, like, actual play is an art form. It's a creative form. Let's try to experiment and do something that folks haven't seen it before. I've never heard that in podcasting, or taking something from video and trying to make it seamless in audio. So I'm really stoked of how that happened.
Yeah.
No one's doing it like us, folks. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
All right, a few more questions here about episode 13, the first of the Bullseye Games. From Sebalicious, Sill's voice effect creeps me out. Is this due to the effect of their magic creation, or is it some kind of indication that they are evil? If so, when will they turn on the crew?
Spoiler. We don't know. I don't know. Only Eric knows.
Eric said this is Sill's voice effect, and we all said, oh boy.
I thought it would just be the voice effect to have them stand out, and also putting a little bit of like demon shake on it. I think I said like 15% demon.
Yeah, it was supposed to be very small. Yeah.
Yeah, just to like, I mean, you drank a magical liquid and then Sill's there. I think this is a real early who can say in here, but I more just wanted the two of them to sound different, because I think they're both going to have similar Eric voice and cadence. So I wanted to make sure they stood out.
Cool. It's good stuff. I Couldn't Help Myself says, I was explaining to a couple of friends about Troy the Ultimate Himbo, and I realized I basically described Joey from Friends. Amanda, how much inspiration was drawn from Joey when he read the V section of the encyclopedia? As you can tell from my tone of voice, perhaps, I have no fucking idea who or what this is.
I was going to say, I don't think Amanda's ever seen a single episode of Friends.
No.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's very funny.
Amanda was babysitting.
Amanda, Joey's the one that does the how you doing, and that's all you need to know about Joey.
That's who he is, yeah.
I may have seen that as a GIF.
Yes.
Joey's the only person in Friends who's actually a good person. So you're good.
Interesting.
Man, he's cheated on so many women. That's saying something for all
Joey?
of the...
Joey
yeah.
doesn't cheat.
Joey doesn't cheat?
No, Joey is the most respectful towards women out of all the men on the show, and he is the most faithful.
I mean, that's not saying something with those two, but you're 100%
true, yeah.
correct. Yeah.
He's the only one that sees women as people,
That's true.
including the other women.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah.
So the answer is no inspiration, but I fully support your headcanon.
Yeah.
It's not headcanon. I've watched Friends more than all of you combined.
That's
true.
fair. Brandon, I was about to say, I don't know enough Friend lore to really like counteract you on this. I was watching Seinfeld during those years.
Yeah, I didn't watch any Seinfeld, so that's the trade-off. So
That's fair. That's fair.
But what I'm saying is that Troy is the best himbo because Troy is thoughtful and good. So it works.
They
Yeah.
are.
I guess I was confusing Joey having small emotional problems, being like, I want to date these two hot women. What do I do?
Only
And
date
then
one
She's
of
thinking
them.
about their feelings.
And then Chandler's like, could I be any emotionally oppressed? That was a Friends reference.
Thank you. I know your George references by now, but not the Friends ones.
Right, Amanda was there when I
What's
watched all
the
of Seinfeld.
So the encyclopedia bit, though, is there's a traveling door-to-door salesman where they're selling up encyclopedias, which is a thing that used to happen before
Yes.
any of us were born.
Yeah.
I wanted them so bad.
He only had enough cash to buy one book, and he was showing the example of the V book, so he bought the V book, and he wanted to sound smarter around his friends, so he started talking
Great.
about V things.
Nice.
And they kept changing the subject to things that didn't start with V, and it was comedically
He
funny.
drew it back.
That's Troy's Book of Barrels, but these.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Dang.
Exactly right. Well, there you go.
you
Endorsed. I like it. Good job, Kelp. Here is a question from Absaw13. As one of the rootin' tootin'est lawyers who listen to JTP, Julia's, is it a secret or is it hearsay? Those are two different things. To Arello in episode 13. Crack me the F up.
It wasn't a question, but I wanted to include it because they made multiple references from episode 13 in this particular statement.
Excellent. I love that.
My favorite thing also, I include these every once in a while because it's like, here's the thing. We forget what we say immediately.
Yes.
You think that it's because it takes a while from the episode to come out from when we record it. No, we forget about it an hour after we do it. Mm-hmm. It's like good. And then we empty the recycle bins in our brain.
That's called heard but not say. That's called not heard say. That's something in there.
Good. We're percolating. We're figuring it out. We're working on it. Another not question but comment from Julie TTE. This isn't a question, but Bullseye Games 1 had me LOL multiple times. Love JTP. Heart. Thank you.
We were pretty funny in this episode.
We were pretty funny here.
Solidly funny on this one. Truly.
All right, folks, we, of course, set off at the end of episode 13 toward the Bullseye Games and ran into a shipwreck, which, reveal, has Troy's BFF 3 lips on it. So let's get into episode 14.
Can I just say, I was like sitting on my hands that entire episode.
I could tell.
Oh, yeah, let's spend more time with talking about Lucky Edie. Great.
Yeah.
Wow, what a jerk. Oh
Whose fault is that for including a very cool mechanic that we wanted to explore?
Rainbow Parrot NPC.
Yeah, damn you for including that mechanic, you fuck.
Yeah, it's my fault.
God. Dominique wants to know something that I also want to know, which is, why did you give us such a heart attack with Nonny disappearing?
Yeah.
Hey, Julia, do you have anything to say to me?
I hate you. Fuck you.
Fair.
But also, I had a feeling that something like that was going to happen when you were stressing, like, yeah, you have to go like pretty deep if you want to get some cool stuff. And I was like, well, I have a familiar who can see in the dark and also breathe underwater. And like just staring at you, being like, don't you fucking do anything. Don't fucking do it.
Real emotional stakes.
I mean, how many times have you put Nonny into a possibly dangerous situation? Then you're like, nah, it's fine.
Only once before this, I feel like, at this point.
In the book depository?
Yes.
I'm thinking about that. I thought there were some other ones before.
For the most part, she sticks with me, baby.
That's true. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was interesting because it's like you forget you can resurrect your partner like that.
Yes.
And I was like,
familiar is good that way.
And I'm like, yeah, Julia, sorry. Get effed.
Yeah.
Get absolutely effed.
No one was more upset than Troy, who really risked life and limb to bring Nonny back.
I get it. We don't know, like, yeah, you can resurrect your familiar, but we don't know, like, because Nonny can't talk. Is the experience traumatic? Is it painful?
Right.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
And you forget all of that when it actually happens. Like a big claw grabs your little octopus and then...
You feel it.
dot.
Yeah. I just want to shout out to Brandon for keeping in a line that I really liked from that episode, which is, hold on, I need a second to roleplay correctly.
You were going through it.
Yeah, sometimes that's like a real feeling. There's one other scene like that that's coming up in a future episode where I was like, I need a fucking minute to roleplay correctly because I'm so overwhelmed by the thing that just happened.
Eric's delighted.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
Oops.
No oops here. Malignant Sloth wants to know something that I was also curious about. Was there a chance for the crew not to notice the shipwreck, or would one of them notice eventually? Would that have meant Three Lips wouldn't have made it to the games at all if we never picked him up?
Yeah, like if we had just booked it straight to the island and not like stopped to check the wreck, would that have doomed Three Lips?
I'm sure he would have made it somehow. Like, just narratively, he needed to be to the games,
I mean, he didn't need to be in the games. How would he have gotten to the island? He was half a day's sail.
Maybe he, like, jumped on a dolphin,
Oh, hold on. Verda Stello that, please.
Maybe he just, like, jumped on a Bellsprout.
Yeah, he jumped
That's
on the
what I
Pokemon
meant.
Bellsprout.
Yeah,
it's
good,
the Pokemon Bellsprout. I can't say what would happen next. I feel like I would have figured that out. However, yes, you 100% could have missed Three Lips. That's why I made you all roll for it. And just to see. And you could have also not stopped at the shipwreck.
Yeah.
As well. There were a lot of opportunities to skip that. But
I mean, that's like saying having a dog not want to eat cheese, Like, that's...
Yeah, the dog
The
could have just not
classic
eaten
thing.
the cheese.
That what people say.
That's true. The dog will eat the cheese regardless of whether or not it's good for the dog.
Mhm.
Exactly, yeah.
Good point.
It's called the cheese tax.
Yeah. Brandon also has a cheese tax. You don't see it, but I
That's
have to
actually
send him
honestly very
cheese.
true.
That is also 100%.
Every time Eric eats cheese, he mails a little bit to Brandon's house.
I don't pay my taxes, cheese tax or not. So
Wow.
I have an accountant who consolidates all my cheese tax, and then
you
I
mean
just
an
send it all to
actuary, Eric? Please.
stupid. So stupid. But yeah, I can't say what would happen. I think that Three Lips would have made it, but he would have had a bad time. Someone else would have picked him up. I know we don't know anything about NPCs getting involved with other NPCs to detriment. I'm not looking at anyone in particular, looking at the ceiling. So we would have seen what would happen.
That's really interesting. If we didn't stop at the shipwreck and got to Small Key Island early, I know you were talking about kind of like you can do stuff if you get there early, or you cannot if you don't get there early. What were some of the things we could have done if we had gotten there sooner than we did?
Oh, maybe you could have just like messed around in town, maybe met more of the competitor NPCs before. It was more like, hey, do whatever you want, and then I'll figure out what you want to do.
I could have done my Hoover Dam trip earlier.
Right, you could have went to the Hoover Dam for sure. It's hard for me to say like this is what would have happened if you'd done this because the situation's totally different. I would have done what
that's not how
you
we
would
roll.
have what you would have done. So I can only who can say myself in this particular situation.
I can guarantee we would have gotten some good street food, though.
Yeah, you could have gotten street food.
Eric, I think this is a great time to ask because at the end of episode 14 is when we get introduced to all of the competitors, and where did these come from? Where in your brain did you pull these genius creatures? And I want to know everything about them.
And
you.
their weapons, please.
Yes. I knew that there was going to be 7 competitors. We had 2 of them already, right? Troy and Three Lips.
Big fans of Troy. Meh on Three Lips.
Well, I want to ask, as we do this, I want to ask all of you how you felt about them right when you came upon them. And when we like introduced them in the wipe at the end of 14 and then the time that you spent with them in episode 15.
Yeah.
Listen, we have brought up the separatist movement in the Crags where they speak French too many times for me not to include someone like this. I think the whole thing was also like, why are they there? Because there are some people who are there because they got invited and because they're actual sharpshooters, and there are other people who are there for like political reasons or not political reasons, like with Three Lips being there because each of the countries get an invitation to the Bullseye Games and via the Olympiad. So it was
still
just
an all-time pun.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So it was just like kind of figuring out why they're there, what are they trying to do, and then what's their whole vibe. With Frambois Boussier, I was coming up with French names, and I had to include this, and I thought it would just be a fun thing for Troy, and then of course flushing that whole thing out about La Multitude des Monts, which is actually a name for a forest in France. It's like a phrase for a forest that folks use, and I thought I wanted to include that as the like. Everyone in the Crags lives in a bad place for good reason, and then like the big forest with the megafauna in it and the megaflora, I thought was the reason why the separatists lived in the forest. And I thought a blunderbuss would be fun for a dung beetle to carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Troy was fascinated by a fellow Crags person. So that's the person that I think he was most excited to talk to. As we all know, didn't go great.
Did you roll on your table, or did you come up with these on the fly, or did you come up with them beforehand? 3 options.
I definitely came up with them beforehand. Some people had said I hadn't used enough bugs, so I was really making sure I used bugs in this and balancing everything out. But now that I had everyone in front of me, I could be like, okay, Troy's a bug, Three Lips is a flower. Let's make sure to make at least some sort of balance, especially like when there were other people I super wanted to do, like the cactus for Kid Cervantes.
Let's get to that stiff-elbowed man.
I love him. I just love him. That's my most One Piecey out of all of them. There's there's an incredible sword fighter who just moves around on like a raft with a single sail on it, and he's incredible. So that was Kid Cervantes came from that, and of course Brandon, I wanted to make the Star Warsy assest name possible for Kid Cervantes, and I'm just like let's just do that.
Yeah.
And of course I had the water gun the whole time because I was really interested.
Course.
I was really interested in Cushion.
As soon as you described him, I was like, oh, that's my favorite of all time. That's the
He's
best.
pretty. It's a Kid Fisto reference, which is the best name ever created.
Who was that?
Kid Fisto is.
Oh, Kit Fisto.
Oh, thank you. Kid. I always thought it was Kid because I only hear Chris Gethard say it really fast.
Oh no, I didn't know
whenever
either until I just googled it.
Yeah. Kid Fisto is like a mid-level NPC in the Star Wars universe.
Got it.
And he has the best name of all time, so that was
True.
also a reference to that.
He's like a Jedi Master during the Clone Wars.
Love it.
Same.
He's got cool tentacle hair.
He's so cool. What a good name. What a good dude.
Bitches love tentacles, Julia. You know that.
Bitches love tentacles. I'm gonna send Amanda a photo so she can see how cool Kit Fisto is.
Thank you.
Yeah. What did you think? What did you think of Kit Cervantes showing up on his fan book and not saying anything?
So cool. I love a silent character, especially in a podcast. Like the vibe is there. You know what I mean? And like I liked his whole, like, I don't know where he's from that has this kind of like American Southwest vibe. And now I want to know. I'm like, is this part of Hot House? Is this like a like
Incredibly
very
into it.
deserty part of Overstock? Like, what is
He's
it?
rolling in on a boat with no name, you know?
Truly. I thought it was important to have some people who are straight up pirates as well. I was trying to balance like countries versus pirates. So like Kid Cervantes was well-known pirate sharpshooter. And then Radbert as just
That's Radbert.
absolute Radbert, just like dandelions filled up armor. I just thought that was fun. And I wanted him to be like a jobber, a guy who's just like out there being a pirate. Who cares where he's from?
He's on Pirate Fiber,
You
yeah.
love a jobber.
Exactly. Piver. And
Well,
I
that's a
think
different
this
app,
is...
Amanda. That's where you get pie.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Task Ribbit.
Good.
You know, frogs, famously bugs.
Famously one of those guys in our world.
I think that the reveal of Radbert's voice has got to be my favorite in any episode of Join the Party of all time.
Whoa, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
This voice just charms the hell out of me. And Radbert, us not knowing that Radbert was there and Radbert just be like, hi guys, was incredible.
Did I say this in the episode? But it has real brainy from Hey Arnold energy.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I agree completely, Amanda. I like, you know, he has skeevy vibes, but like his introduction and his voice and the way he's like played just makes me want to be his best friend forever in real life and in the
know.
game.
I just want to protect him. It's so good. I love him.
Sometimes there is something about this, like, hey, no spoilers, but Radbert's not good at this. Like, he's not that great. Like, why is he in the games? Why is he just like hanging out? He's just doing his best.
Yeah, he was immediately like, okay, you can take the prize. That's fine.
How did he get an invite?
I mean, he gave us great information already, you know, about the
Yeah.
fact that someone's going to try to steal the thing probably
Oh, yeah.
at
Yes.
the end of it.
Yeah.
That was helpful.
And we don't know, Eric, that he's not good at it. We've only seen one event, you know?
That's true.
In my head, he's not as good as everyone else, right? Like in my head, he's just like, hey, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna have it.
He gives distinct mediocre vibes and TBD. We don't know.
I mean, Three Lips is in the games, so
Yeah. In my head, Radbert is just like at a work conference, you know?
And he has like 3 special polos that he packs.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Julia, how did you feel about Continuous Thankful?
In the same vein as me, and we didn't talk about this yet, me choosing and then shooting myself in the foot by choosing Havana Tropicana to be a religious doctor.
Oh, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's how I felt about Continuous Thankful. And
You were like, uh-oh.
yeah, you know, like in choosing Open Fields for Cammie's background, I knew that I was gonna have like some character trauma around religious figures, but I didn't think it was gonna be this like devastating to me as a person while playing it. And that's on me. Like, these are all my own choices, and this is what continues to happen in all of the campaigns that I play. So that's on me, you know?
Julia's like, oops, I dropped my house key. I hope no one robs me.
Yeah, basically that's the vibe. I'm like victim blaming myself here.
Oh, no. Well, Julia, let's cul-de-sac here real quick, because Malignant Sloth wants to know, do you yet regret picking the religious path for Havana?
100%.
I think I can answer this for Julia. She regretted it immediately.
Yeah, I did it, and then he started talking about the path, and I was like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah.
How did you not foresee this when you were choosing between that? I think we had two choices. We were like religious and the
Or necromancy, I think.
There are four choices, which again, I'm surprised that Julia chose religious.
We came down to two choices, yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Between us, yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm still surprised you chose religious out of the four, because it was like, one was like crunchy nature, one was regular doctor, one was like weird black hat doctor, and then religious doctor. And I'm like, oh, she's going to choose one of the other three.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to put cleric on the board. That's what happens in Civilization 6. There is a religious path you can take.
I almost did crunchy.
Yeah.
And like to some extent I do kind of regret it, but I think from a storytelling perspective it's very good.
Sure.
And that's part of the reason why I ended up picking that, because I like kind of having emotional turmoil in character arcs and stuff like that. But I think I also thought that maybe Havana would be religious in the way that Cammy currently is religious, rather than going full like youth pastor really, really into it. So I think that is, again, on me, an assumption that I made. And I regret it in terms of like Cammy is suffering because of it, but I don't regret it in terms of like interesting storytelling. But every time Havana talks about the path, you guys can't see my face, but the people on this call can see my face, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
just a full grimace.
Malignant Sloth described that as Cammy is crying, but Julia is thriving. And I think Julia is like cringing, but exhilarated.
Yes.
Like
so
the
funny.
ascent of a roller coaster.
Yes, exactly.
There was a thought. I don't remember what we said, but there was a reason we gave the religious one as an option.
It was because we know that one of the quote-unquote big bads of this campaign is Audrey the Rotten Queen, who deals in like necrotic magic, so having a cleric who is potentially like more celestial magic would be a good counterpoint.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Incredibly hilarious.
And he's just really fucking annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Eric, take us through these other NPCs, please. These other competitors.
Yeah. I also love the conversation that we had about what a paladin of the path looked like.
Yeah.
Someone suggested, someone sent a message that was like, oh, this has real like tent revival energy.
It does. It really does.
And I like that. It's like the paladin shows up in your town, sets up a tent, and then while wearing a 3-piece suit, goes and takes care of the monster, and then it's like, all right, well, in exchange, all of you are coming to services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I kind of mentioned that in the episode where I said this does have kind of like big tent revival energy, but yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, we talked about that was the initial thing, and then Eric was like, this is more like we landed on an FBI agent coming into your town.
Yeah, like relentlessly helpful.
Yeah.
And therefore you really can't turn away. Like, it's a little bit like, what if a medicine show actually cured all your syphilis? And then you're like, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess I got to do this now.
Mm. I feel like there's a lot of spooky stuff. I'm trying to think. This is kind of like Twin Peaks, where it's like people really like the CIA agent who's in town.
Right.
But of course, they still work for the CIA.
Yeah.
It's like X-Files.
But they do stuff like this in Gravity Falls, and they did stuff like this in the first half of the Adventure Zone Amnesty, where it's like the FBI agent is there, but they come into town. They're an NPC. And then it's like, you got to deal with them. Can I continue to do shenanigans if an FBI agent is in town? And I feel like that's kind of how it feels like when a paladin rolls into town like that.
Where did you get the name Continuous from?
Oh, Continuous Thankful straight up from that list.
Oh, the Quaker list?
The Quaker list.
The Quaker list.
Yeah, I found someone compiled like a list of Quaker names and threw it on Twitter.
A scholar, yeah. She was like, why is nobody using all of these names all the time? These are incredible.
Yeah, and that was, I think Continuous Thankful was either, Continuous was the first name of the person, and I think Thankful also might have been from like a different list of Puritans or of Amish people that I had originally from the beginning of the campaign that I sent to Julia. So yeah, it's Continuous Thankful, part of the whole like virtue as name that I wanted to include.
Continuous is such a weird name even for like Quakers or Puritans. I don't understand.
I will say, Eric, I think Continuous might have been from your own creation, because I'm seeing several constants on this list.
Oh, sure.
I think you took it a step further with Continuous, which is great.
I think I must have, much like Girl Talk, I mashed up two names that created something wild.
I love
That's
it.
what we always say about you when we describe you as a DM. It's like girl talk.
It's just like Girl Talk.
Famously so.
I'm more of a Super Mash Bros. DM. Sorry, everyone who went to NYU in 2010 really loved that.
I know.
I
All of
know.
you Gen Zers out there, Girl Talk was a DJ.
Remember mashups? Mashups
Mashups.
were a really big thing. And then, of course, I had to do something. I had the Future Builder prospect there the entire time. I knew
So
that was
cool.
happening. Y'all didn't really investigate it in the book depository stuff, but I knew that I wanted someone like that. And then, of course, someone who is deeply self-serious has to be a part of it for the Builder games. And Archimedes is he's just out here being a big moth, trying his best, having no self-awareness, and having a giant laser rifle.
Bless his heart.
Yeah. I think there is perhaps no funnier trait in an NPC than self-seriousness. Like, it is interacting with them in any form makes like incredible comedy, and I am enjoying it so much.
I'm so glad that he got and he got a DNP for the first round.
Truly incredible.
I know. Well, we have a lot to talk about the mechanics of the precision round. But first, folks, let me run back into the kitchen and refill our little party platter right here.
Thank you.
I got you a munchie mix.
Oh.
Sorry, my mom said we're at a munchie mix, so we just have a bunch of carrots. Is that okay?
Oh, is that good?
No.
Yeah,
throw
that's
that shit in
fine.
the
Is that good
trash.
for you? You guys don't want the puffed quinoa chips?
No, I want them.
No, the puffed quinoa chips are great. I don't want fucking carrots.
I want carrots. Ignore Brandon. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Hey, it's Amanda. I am back from vacation, and listen, I'm sure I've said it before, but there is truly nothing like a first shower after being away from home in your own shower. I have all my products. My body knows the distance between all of the, knobs and the curtain, and I'm not going to be scared by how cold or hot the water is right away. You know what? It takes longer to warm up than other places, but hey, it's mine, and I know exactly how to use it. So welcome to the mid-roll. And welcome, first and foremost, to our newest patrons. There have been so many of you over the last couple of weeks. Thank you so much for joining. Dominique, Cassandra, Kay, Kat, Barbie, AJ, and Mooncat Charlie. What a fabulously good-looking and charismatic bunch you are. Only in partly just because you are, but partly because you have chosen to carve out some money in your budget to help make this independent podcast possible. We can only make this show because of the contributions you make to us on Patreon. We take so much time to make this show, and we love it, and we love you all. And we know that not all of you are in a place where you can support us financially, but for anyone who can spare $5 a month or more, we extra super duper appreciate you. You can join the Patreon for things like party planning. Julia and Brandon published a real banger last week. Our patron-only Discord, which has been my favorite place on the internet for years, and all kinds of extras like bonus scenes. We released, like we were talking about here on the episode, the other 2 rounds of the Precision games for all of our patrons at any level. So join us today at patreon.com/jointhepartypod. And hey, if you can't afford to support us financially right now, absolutely no shame. We totally get it. Share the show with a friend. That is just as useful to us. Send them to jointhepartypod.com/start, where they can listen to any of our campaigns. This week at Multitude, there is so much going on, and I gotta be honest with you guys, one of my very favorite podcasts, not just at Multitude, but of all time, is Pale Blue Pod. This is an astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but want to be its friend. Every Monday, astrophysicist Dr. Moya McTeer and comedian Corinne Caputo demystify space one topic at a time. Recently, they talked about the 52 constellations of the southern sky and handed out some absolutely wacky awards. And make sure you stick around to the end of the episode to figure out which is the horniest constellation in the southern sky. Again, new episodes every Monday, so listen to Pale Blue Pod in your podcast app now. We are sponsored this week by Volante Design, which are the creators of gorgeous clothing and cosplay items. You've seriously got to just go to their website at volantedesign.us to believe how beautiful they are. Like, me saying you can buy a Starfleet leather jacket is not going to really communicate to you how beautiful the Starfleet leather jackets are. Can you tell I want a Starfleet leather jacket? Holy shit, they're so pretty. So anyway, they're a fantastic small business all about clothing, pop culture, and making people feel badass. They have wonderful cosplay items like Lord of the Rings gowns or a ninja collection that will legitimately make you feel like a rogue in real life, but also things that you could totally wear, like not in a fandom setting or even to work, like this beautiful kind of asymmetrical red vest in a Victorian Gothic style. Oh my God, they're so beautiful. And best of all, they are offering listeners of Join the Party $30 off your purchase at volantedesign.us with code JOINTHEPARTY at checkout. So that's VOLANTE design.us, but don't worry, they ship all over the world, and the code is Join the Party. If you have any issues with the code or getting it shipped to where you are, just email their support. They are super quick and super friendly. Again, it's volantedesign.us. The code is Join the Party, and the offer is $30 off your purchase. We are also sponsored by Cornbread Hemp. And I know I mentioned coming home to my shower and how nice that is after being away, but I also really appreciate that I have my CBD oil and my CBD gummies, and the only brand I buy these days is Cornbread Hemp. This is a CBD company based in Kentucky. They are USDA certified organic and in the process of becoming a certified B Corp, which is awesome. And their products are flower only, TMTM, full spectrum. That means no seeds or stems make their way in. And most of the products are also vegan friendly, including the CBD oils and gummies, which I know can be a huge pain if you are vegetarian or vegan and looking for CBD products. They're family owned, crowdfunded. They used to live in Greenpoint. They are super, super cool guys. They are all grown and made in Kentucky and certified by independent labs with reports published on their website. I really rely on CBD products for muscle pain and also to sleep. So if you want to check them out, go learn something about CBD on their website and buy it now. Go to cornbreadhemp.com and use code JOINTHEPARTY for 25% off your order. That's cornbreadhemp.com, and the code is JOINTHEPARTY. Finally, the show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes in life, we are faced with some tough choices, and the path forward isn't always clear. Now, here's a very small example. Coming home from vacation, Eric and I were scheduled on a flight that was supposed to leave at like 8 p.m. We were going to a wedding the next day. We were supposed to get home at like 11 or so and then leave at about 11 the next morning. Now, as we're packing for the airport, we get a text that our flight is 10 minutes late, 30 minutes late, 2 hours late, 4 hours late. Oh my God. And finally, our flight ended up leaving Nashville at about 2 in the morning and getting back to New York at 5 a.m. This was terrible. So in that moment, sitting at home, packing, frozen with fear that I'm going to miss this wedding or miss our rental car or miss our plans, I used some of my therapy techniques to take deep breaths, to focus on the outcome and what I could control. And you know what, guys? We found a different flight on a different airline that was leaving on time. We got home earlier than we would have otherwise and went to the wedding, and it was super fun. And I am really grateful that even in those small moments, maybe especially in those small moments where there's a dilemma or a stressful situation, I have tools that I'm learning in therapy that can make sure that I know how to deal with it and deal with those stresses when they do come up. And if you're looking to get into therapy, but you're kind of not sure how to start, maybe you can't access therapy safely or affordably where you are, BetterHelp is a super convenient way to do it. It's flexible and totally suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. I did this several times when I was using BetterHelp, and it was really useful to know that if I didn't vibe with a particular therapist, I could switch and find somebody new at no additional charge. So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/jointheparty today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/jointheparty. And now, back to the after party. All right, folks, I'm back. The only carrots were frozen for the dogs, so instead I did bring you watermelon lemonade ice cubes with blueberries in them, which Eric and I have been snacking on.
That's very good. I like that. I like that.
Delicious.
We have bought 2 watermelons, and we have fully went through all of them because we blended and juiced a lot of it.
Delicious.
Nice. Solid. Good choice.
All right, pals, we have got to talk about perhaps the best mini game in my memory in Join the Party since the maps in Campaign 1.
Wow.
For me,
Wow.
let's talk about the Precision Round.
Fuck yeah.
Woo!
So I wanted to ask Eric, like, what was your approach? Like, what was your thought process? How'd you get to using like real games as a tool in your fantasy game? Was there like an inspiration like you had for Mice and Mansions and Murders or whatever the fuck it was called, or
Of
She
Mice
didn't
and
even
Murder.
remember the thing I said 20 minutes ago. Incredible.
I know the thing you're talking about. I just don't know what it's called.
He just doesn't care.
He just put the word mansions in the middle. It was yeah, they mashed up they were mice in the haunted mansion. They're in actual Disney World and you play mice trying to get in the
Honestly,
haunted
Eric, that's
mansion.
tight.
That sounds like the most Brandon game of all time.
That's
Yeah.
Brandon's goat party.
Yes. Yes.
Mice and mansions and murder.
Ooh.
Ooh, write it down, Brandon. Write it
Write it
down.
down.
Brandon,
Write it
Brandon,
down.
write it down. Brandon, write it down.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this a lot just in terms of how tabletop RPGs are set. The whole thing with tabletop RPGs is you play a game and then you get a resolution and then the story continues, right? You take these little stops along the way, much like running around in the tall grass and then a Pokemon pops out, right? And for many tabletop RPGs, it's just roll a die, right? Or do a move, and then that will encourage something that will happen. So I've been thinking about this since the ship battles mechanics that I made, where the mechanics are rock paper scissors, right? So I'm like, okay, let's do something that has everyone involved, and let's kind of figure out how we're going to resolve. It's like we're going to play a game, and then we're going to see how well everyone does, and then the scores are done, right? That's ultimately what it is. And then I wanted to do something fun that had everyone involved. So I did this, and then of course I had 2 other games that I prepared, which we didn't end up going to because we had so much fun in the locker room, which is fine by me.
But it's been released for patrons. So if you're not a patron and you want to hear us do 2 more different kinds of mini games for the precision round, you got to join. It's great.
Gotta do it.
But Celebrity was my favorite, and I'm really glad that we did it. So yeah, that's just what I was thinking. Like playing a game, seeing how it resolved, and then using that as, I mean, especially because like we're doing a game within a game by having a tournament arc inside of a tabletop RPG thing. So I was like, I wanted to make it feel a little bit more real before we were going to move on.
That's why it sort of like surprised me, because like there's already the game. Like the easy thing to do there as a DM is just be like, all right,
Troy, shoot it.
shoot an
Yeah.
arrow and roll attack roll, and we'll see how well you do. But I thought it was just brilliant to like zag there. I don't know. I would never thought to do that. So
And plus, it gets all of us involved, which I think is a lot more interesting and fun. Like, listen, I will never be mad about Troy Riptide being in the spotlight because I fucking love Troy Riptide. But like getting to help with the competition in a way was nice for us as players, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yeah, no, I you know, I just thought it would be more fun. And I think that it ended up being really interesting in play and hearing how it went. I think that, Brandon, you're bringing up something that a lot of people run into. Because, like, Dungeons & Dragons is a dice game, right? And then you got to use dice to literalize what's happening. You think about this all the time. This is a problem that DMs run into all the time when they're first starting. It's like, oh, I want to do some tavern games. I want to do some carnival games. What do I do? And then it's like, all right, well, we're going to do poker, but it's dice. Right? Or something, or we're going to play Yahtzee instead. It's like you're using dice to literalize a game is not always the best medium. So that's why I did the whole precision justification, right? Is like, be precise with your language. We're going to use this as the literization, especially for something like the precision round. It's just about points. Or like in a Mario Party game, it's like, how well did you do out of 100%?
Yeah.
Which is also how I came up with the scores for everyone else. So I was like, all right, I assume that by skill, everyone else's percentage is going to be this. So that's how Troy came in tied for 3rd, right?
Pretty good, Troy. Pretty good.
All of this is a game, right? But we're just using a different game that isn't the D20, the D10, the D12, the D6 to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's good shit, man.
Good shit.
You all took it seriously, and I'm very happy.
Oh my
about
God,
it.
yes.
Oh my God,
I
of
was
course.
stressed.
Eric, playing it and then listening to the edit and then listening to the final episode, my heart rate like doubled. It was I have never felt so much pressure. It was amazing.
I also just love playing Celebrity. I think it's always a fun game. So
Yeah,
is.
and it gives us some control too. It's not just like roll the die, I hope it works. Like, because especially in a structured competition, it's not like I could approach initiative and say, okay, like what are the ways that I could be a creative thinker, you know, and like use my skills to the best possible outcome. It's like, okay, hit the target. You know, yes, Troy is built for that, but you know, how interesting or climactic can that possibly be? So that's fully what I expected to happen, and you fully surpassed my expectations. It was so fun, and led to a moment that I think everybody enjoyed. Brandon, thank you for your heavy finger on the bleep button there.
Oh, don't give me credit for that. That was an Amanda idea that I put into practice.
Perfectly executed.
I also just want to shout out Brandon because he by far had the most difficult category of all of us, and like I appreciated it. It was a tough one.
It was fun.
Yeah,
we did it. Grace Robichaux also gave Brandon some kudos by saying, how amazing is it when Brandon thought to learn some support skills before the Bullseye Games?
Brandon, that's so nice of you. Look at that.
So good.
I play good game. I play D&D good.
He played D&D good.
Malignant Sloth wants to know, Eric, how sad did I look when Framboise said no to playing 3-card Manny with Troy? In my recollection, I looked like somebody kicked me. I was like, what?
Hey, let's take a second and zoom in on this moment with Troy or Riptide, right?
Too close.
Always, baby. No, get
back,
closer. It gets better the closer you get.
Man, we're really seeing what his eyes look like. It's weird. Troy Riptide, proud, craggish green folk, walks up to rebellious separatists saying, wow, crags are great. Love the crags.
Big fan of the crags.
Actually, I'm not that big about them anymore. Do you want to play a game?
And then she is like, what the fuck are you doing? It's not like she doesn't automatically know what your whole deal is when you walked in going, crags.
No, he didn't hide it at all. Should he have? Probably. Did he? No.
Yeah. Especially because, like, the Crags also sent a representative to set 3 Lips. So it's like she has 2 people in this locker room, 2 out of 7, and one is herself, who is from the country that she is currently trying to secede from. I don't think that she likes you.
No,
and that was so much fun to play with this French accent.
Yeah, it was. It was so well done. Sloth also asked, Eric, I want to know how that timing worked out with Archimedes dropping at exactly the perfect comedic moment. Is it just the time he would touch his ring for luck?
Did you just give Brandon a gift? Was that what happened?
Brandon, those shenanigans worked out so well.
Good shenanigans.
Well, we talked about it in the episode, like specifically choosing the item that would be at the opportune moment, but then Eric just used his great comedic timing to be like, and now.
The thing that I was thinking is that Archimedes failed the roll, right? I had that. I rolled that. I knew it in my head. Archimedes, as a person, would try so hard to fight off falling asleep / passing out in a public space.
Just try to power through it.
Archimedes was just trying to power through it. And I didn't know when I was going to do it, but I knew I was going to make it happen at some point. And I thought that the whole thing with Troy was just so funny. I had to do it at that moment. It's like I kept it in my pocket. I also wanted Brandon to like feel a little, especially because it was ambiguous and Archimedes is imposing as just a character. I wanted to keep it in my pocket. It's like, did I do it? Did it work? Because I rolled it and I didn't say anything. So I more just wanted to keep that in my pocket.
So it was a little gift to Brandon, is what I'm hearing.
I knew it was going to happen. I was just waiting for, I was like licking my chops waiting for the good Eric joke. And I was like, oh, give me those giggles, Eric. Give me those giggles.
He was waiting for his cheese tax.
You rolled. You were also like, hey, how's Archimedes doing as he's walking out? And he like looked grim. He was just like straight faced, not trying to move. It's like you're trying to hold in a barf. It's like, if I don't move my face, I'll be fine.
Really, huh?
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to do. And it was just a fun thing to do.
Now, folks, some questions about the game, our characters, Verda Stello as a whole. So this was just a what do you say? A little soupçon of inspiration from Sneaky Sloth. Are some green folk nocturnal, such as flowers that only bloom at night or funky nighttime bugs? And Jaya chimed in to say, would a firefly green folk wear pants with a butt flap or no pants at all? I think a skirt, and they flip it up.
I was going to say, I think there's just when you see characters that have tails in fiction, just like
a little cutout.
There's a hole in the butt. Yeah.
I think no pants.
I also think no pants. I liked skirt though. Skirt was good.
Thank you.
Or like maybe, you know how they have those apron dresses that like are supposed to tie like around a dress, but sometimes you don't wear anything underneath, so your butt's hanging out just a little bit. That.
What are you talking about?
You never seen an apron dress? Come on, Brandon.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, thank you.
This could also be like a 19th century dress where it has like the cage.
Oh, the bustle and
Yeah,
stuff.
with a full bustle. So it's like
Good.
you have the bustle, then like, but it's protecting the firefly
yeah.
butt. The point is, yes, I think some green folk are nocturnal,
The
just
point
like
is,
people.
yes.
Just like people.
There you
Sometimes
go.
we're nocturnal.
There you go.
All I'm hearing now in my head is like Love Shack, but what was the phrase? Funky little bugs? Funky
Yes.
little bugs.
It is.
Love Shack, baby, Love
That's
Shack.
very good.
I have a
Funky little
D&D campaign, and they're full with plants.
You do. That's true. Maureen also wants to know, I'm sure this is a very rude and personal question to ask of a butterfly, but did Troy maintain consciousness during his chrysalis goo phase? Where do butterfly folks' parents put their chrysalises when they're in there? Tell me it's a closet and they all have parties when they come out. Question for the group. What do we think?
Well, didn't we establish that in Verda Stello, caterpillars stay caterpillars and butterflies are born butterflies? Like there's no chrysalis goo phase.
No,
It's
you
like,
said both. I'm pretty sure you said both are true. There are caterpillars that stay caterpillars. There are butterflies that stay butterflies, and there are some that do transformation. Right?
Interesting.
That sounds like the thing I said, and I
Cool.
agree. Because
Yeah.
also I want to, because like I also don't want like, you can't just go up to a butterfly green folk and being like, so how was your chrysalis?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
You can't go up to a caterpillar and be like, so when you changing, Jim?
Yeah.
It's a real trans allegory.
Yes.
We're always doing one over here.
Always.
I think that I think that they maintain consciousness. I really like Maureen, like having a social and like familial tradition surrounding this.
Yes.
This is also very similar. I talked to Dr. Moya McTeer about what does it say about the Pokemon world that trainers are 10, and what is that like the age of adulthood in the Pokemon world? So I kind of like this as it's related to this sort of thing. Like this is your bug mitzvah. See you later, nerds.
Eric got up from the
Open the door.
place
Close
that
the door.
they're sitting. He's leaving. He's leaving now. Goodbye, Eric.
Incredible.
All right. Here's
Incredible.
the section where we talk about how good Eric is at things.
Don't tell him.
Don't tell him. Guys, he doesn't listen to his own voice. He won't listen to this after.
He won't listen to this episode. We can compliment him all we want before he puts his headphones back on.
Oh, too late. Okay. Time out.
You're all talking
Time
about
out.
how great bug mitzvah was.
It is good.
You'll never know.
I like
You'll never
it.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
So no, Maureen, I love that a lot. That's great.
I don't think that Troy should maintain consciousness, though. That would be bad.
That's up to Troy, baby.
Like that would sounds like it'd be really painful and weird, like rearranging your atoms. You know?
I guess, but it's also like for Pokemon, it's like, well, what about the middle stage? You know, like when you become a Kakuna.
I think it's not weird. And that
What about
Troy
when
is
you're
like,
a
yeah,
Kakuna?
I got gooed. Like you just get all blended up and you wait in your chrysalis and you chill, got a big nap, think about things. And then you come out and everyone's like, oh, that's your pattern. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the big nap is important, Amanda. You know?
Yeah, but like not all the time. Like, you know how when bears hibernate, they're not actually sleeping. They just kind of like
That's
slow their
true,
whole
that's
process
true,
down.
yeah.
And they're just like, hard chilling. I think that's what it's like.
Horde chilling.
Horde.
Exactly
Horde.
right.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I also like, I don't want it to speak for bugs, but that would be a bad evolutionary that would be a bad evolutionary process.
They're not going to like hear and talk back to you.
But like if they hurt, I don't want to talk badly about mother evolution,
Oh,
mother
true.
nature,
Yeah,
but like
fair.
I feel like bugs would be unhappy if like, oh, this is gonna hurt, and then you're like, and then it feels like you're in acid for a long time, and then you come back together as after you goo. Like
Well, I hate
Yeah.
to tell you this, Eric, but I'm pretty sure it hurts.
I don't know,
Like growing pains for
They literally
humans.
rip apart their atoms.
but like, do we know it hurts?
Do we know that they have pain receptors?
Because that's what I'm trying to. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's a good point. I don't know about that.
I do not consent to knowing the real answer about whether or not actual butterflies hurt in their chrysalis. So nobody tell me.
Okay.
Nobody tell me.
This reminds me of when Brandon told us that fucked up fact about butterflies, and now I don't want to think about it anymore.
Yeah, no, me neither. All we have is Troy Riptide Perfect Himbo. All right, David the Chem E, which I think stands for engineer, you'll see why, says, I love all the world building in this campaign. As an engineer, I was so drawn to Hothouse. Understandably, with 3 players, it was going to be left out. But will we ever get some hothouse focus?
Who can say?
Well, you have a future builder right here.
Yeah, that could be a little taste for you.
We'll see. We'll see. The question surgeon, Michelle Spurgeon, wants to know, how does everybody know about the crew's involvement with the explosion at the book depository?
Great question.
Michelle, would you believe this never occurred to me?
Gossip runs fast in the pirate world.
Yeah.
I mean, like, do you think people would know you if you, like, stole Donald Duck from Disney World and then blew it up?
Yeah.
Like would people know your name if, like, Epcot Center fell apart and then you took Donald Duck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would.
Did we take Bookie? Did I miss that part?
Julia, we haven't checked that cabin in years. Nobody knows what's in there.
He might be in the haunted cabin.
He
We don't
might
know.
be in the haunted cabin.
I'm sure Tessie, like, also probably, like, started maybe not talking shit, but, like, definitely, like, spreading the information around.
I mean, are our faces on wanted posters in Book Depository Island? I bet.
yeah.
Potentially.
You know, she came after us. She just gave us a gentleman's head start.
Yeah. I thought it was important that you all got a little bit of renown. I was teasing it because, like, Edie knew, even if you didn't admit it. The Bullseye Games folks knew it. So it's definitely something that you're a little well known for, because it's, I mean, a lot of people go through the book depository, both pirates and civilians. So I thought that would have been cool.
And also, pirates are gossipy bitches. So
Yes,
like,
they are.
Yeah.
True.
Established.
Established. Canon.
I like to imagine it's like if it's July 4th, so all the employees are gone from the building, but someone blew up the NSA, and it's like, yeah, the government's going to go after you and, like, put you on their shit list, but, like, everyone else is going to know your name and be like,
Cool with it.
you stopped the surveillance program? That's pretty tight.
That's pretty dope, actually.
And then you take Donald from the NSA.
And then you take Donald from the NSA, who's just a guy named Donald.
We steal the American Eagle. That's the NSA's
Brandon,
mascot.
that was campaign 2. That was your dad, Hank.
Oh, yeah. But the Eagle worked for the company.
Yes. All right, folks, anything more about the plot of these episodes or our characters before we get into some podcasting and IRL questions?
Hey, Eric, you're just good at your job. Just want to say that, like, right off the bat. Good job.
Thanks, dog.
Good
I'm really trying to do some stuff. I mean, I think about this a lot, that a podcast called Not Another D&D Podcast began in 2018, right? And it feels like we've all been doing the same stuff in actual play, in D&D, right? Like, oh, now it's being filmed, and it's an anthology like Dimension 20 does it, and now Critical Role has $1 kajillion, right? And now people are doing it live and this stuff. But, like, the stuff that we do is just like, yeah, let's make some jokes and do improv for an hour and a half, and then bing, bang, boom, we're done. And maybe we'll play a different game. But I think that, like, the stuff we're doing, like, if we're comparing this to TV and movies, right? This is cinematography, almost. The gameplay and cinematography and sound design are what we have. So let's do something different. Let's do some Dutch angles, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to get at here a little bit. Is like, I want to do stuff that we haven't seen before, both so all 3 of you have a good time, like what we had with the messages, me keeping stuff secret, and the stuff with the celebrity, but also so the audience can see that you can do different stuff in this form that's been around. That kind of got, like, old really fast, right?
I totally agree.
I hope you're all having fun.
Yeah.
Having extreme fun, which is why our first question in this section.
Julia says, looking down at her shoes.
Yeah, I'm having fun.
Despite my own best efforts, I'm having a good time at camp this summer.
Well, James wants to know, what is it like having the best DM in podcasting and perhaps the best players in TTRPG podcasting?
Wow, I just complimented Eric and now we're back to back complimenting him. Fine, I see how it is.
It's just fun.
I didn't know that question was coming, so I was just like,
I know. That's why I thought. For me, it's just, it gives me freedom to focus on having a buck-wild, interesting, distinctive character who sometimes, hopefully distinctive and interesting, but, like, who doesn't always do what's best for the plot, because it makes me feel like I can just make whatever choices Troy would actually make, and I know that the mechanics is going to work itself out. And I've spoken about this before, but like in campaign 1 and even into the beginning of campaign 2, I was worried about making the wrong choice for the group and for the party and for the plot. And now I know that the wrong choice is not making a choice, and the, doing what my character would do, Eric knows that and can do whatever he wants with it. And I know that Julia and Brandon will have my back. I know that we'll be able to workshop things, and that we'll ultimately like do what's interesting for the show, and like discover new things in the world. So that is what it is like playing with the best DM and the best players in podcasting.
Damn.
I was going to say lucrative.
Okay.
Rich. Yes, I am podcast rich, and I own 3 houses.
That was a yoke.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We don't own 3 houses.
We
But
own
between
4.
4 of us, we own 1 house.
That's true.
Congratulations,
That's
everyone.
so depressing.
Living the dream.
Yeah. Also, that's the same response Umbi would say.
Shut up, Eric.
All right. Here we go. Joyce Poise wants to know, if you were a fruit, what fruit would you be? Quick.
Pomegranate.
Apple.
I'm
Brandon,
going last.
quick.
I'm waiting for Brandon.
Grapes immediately came to mind, but I hate that.
Nope, you're grapes now. Too bad.
Okay, grapes.
First thought, best thought.
Okay.
I also was going to say apple, but I think strawberry.
Yeah.
Just like a little strawberry.
Yeah. A little hat.
Go.
That's really good. A question for all the Julias out there. AZ Daisies wants to know, do you have a favorite shanty or shanty band? And then they add, I love all the references in the episode descriptions. And I gotta say, folks, if you are not reading the episode descriptions, you have been missing Eric doing, a good 13, 14 sea shanty riffs in a row as the episode descriptions. They're incredible.
My favorite is obviously the theme song for campaign 3, but the one that I sing in my head probably most often is Spanish Ladies. So
Good shit. Brandon, do you have any? I know you listen to a lot.
No, I don't actually.
or you had to listen to a lot to make
Oh,
the
yeah,
theme
yeah.
song.
I did listen to a lot for research. The one I really liked on Julia's playlist, though, when I was doing research, was called Haul Away Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the group in particular, but I liked that tune a lot.
I believe that one on my playlist is Pierce Campbell.
Right on.
I just really like, singing, claps, stomps, and then like a banjo or a mandolin or one of those types of instruments thrown in. I just think that that's kind of like the driving stuff, as you can see from us making Brandon's put in the hose into the campaign.
So good.
Stuff, but yeah, that was hot shit. I mean, the Wellerman is really good. Like, I know that it's the most like Instagrammy, it's the most well known because of how it blew up on TikTok, but like the form makes the most sense to me. It's like, I'm gonna sing a little bit and people say some stuff, I'm gonna sing some other stuff and people sing some stuff, and then everyone comes in together on the chorus, and then another person sings the verse, and then the call and response. So I think it's the best laid out, which is why I think people respond to it so much. There was one particular one that I also, if you go back to the party planning where Brandon and I talked about how we made campaign 3.
Another reason to become a patron or join the party at patreon.com/join the party pod. What?
When we talked about what we were going through to make the sea shanty in the first place, there was another one that had really good structure similarly to that stuff. And that's also related to a lot of like folk songs and religious songs that I've sang at camp, where it's like, I'm going to do some stuff right now and you're going to sing some stuff. And then everyone comes together and does a chorus, and then another person does the verse.
Yeah, call and response. Yeah.
That particular thing of like, not just like, of it breaking up like that. Like, you do one line and the call and response happens in the verse. Yes.
Yeah,
The call and response happens in the verse, and then everyone sings the chorus together, and then a different person can pick up the next verse instead of it just being one person leading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Wes the Imposter asks, what are the phrases that we use to get into character? I can see Troy's being bruh, Cammy's being, well, that is wonderful, and Umbi's being, what? Mine is just Troy Riptide.
No, mine is something like, oh, that's so nice. Like stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely now that I've logged into it, I'd just say what. But originally it was, they want you to take the roles, which is a line from Boy Meets World. So that's where I got that voice from.
Incredible.
Julia, you've really come to a Vasti. That's been a real good one.
It's incredible. Every time you say it, I clap like someone said the name of the movie.
It's like Kramer shows up.
Hey, man.
Exactly.
That thing just happened.
Yeah.
And here, fittingly, is our final question from Plate, actually a druid, which they termed as an after-party question for whenever. You'll see why it's fitting. Does the time between recording an episode and when it actually airs decrease your excitement for it at all? I work as a graphic designer for packaging, and I can be working close to a year out from when the product will hit the shelf.
I like Don Draper, nice.
Exactly. I'll be super excited for it in the moment, but by the time it launches, I'll have almost forgotten about it. Do you experience any of that? Or because you're creating for a specific audience that lets you know their reactions, is it not that much of an issue for you? I was thinking specifically of how long ago the season intro song was created versus when it aired when I thought of this question.
I think for me, it doesn't decrease the excitement for the episodes. It, in fact, increases the excitement for the episodes because I forgot what's happened. And so I can re-listen to stuff and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that, knowing what happened, 5 episodes later, because that's what we just recorded.
I'll often remember like an item or a line or a question I wanted to follow up on. Like I take notes and I remind myself of things, but hearing it in the moment, I'm like, oh, interesting. That didn't strike me at the time. But now again, with the context or, thinking back on stuff. So that really excites me. And also just remembering like, those packets that you put in your gloves or your ski boots to keep your pizzies and hands warm. It's like that, remembering the devastation that you guys are going to feel when you hear some of the shit that happens 5 episodes from now. Like it just carrying that around with me. It just keeps me warm on the cold days and cold on the warm days, baby. Like it's delicious.
Nice.
That's really funny. I mean, for me, like, because I work on them, at some point it just becomes sort of mechanical, like you sort of like detach from the actual like story emotional part of it when you're trying to like make it. So it's my like connection to it comes when we play it first, and then when I hear y'all as an audience react to it. So thank you for doing that.
Brandon, how is it for you knowing that you listen to the podcast probably at least 3 times and you still get surprised by things that I say?
I mean, it's good.
It's
Fun
good.
time.
It's a good
Bro.
experience. It's good.
What do you think, Eric? Because you're also planning for things we're going to do 5 episodes from now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm excited for you all to hear what we're going to say. So I'm similarly to Brandon. It's like I am very engaged when we're playing, and then it's like, oh, they're going to hear this thing. But then we're so far ahead, it's like, oh, but I want you to get there, right? It's like every time I want you all to catch up to where we're at. So we definitely want your responses. We want to hear what you're excited about so that we can know, especially like, I mean, when we play, I have an ear to like what people are going to enjoy and hear. Like the audience is always in the room, but it's kind of funny knowing that like you're going to hear it weeks later. Even if I'm cheating out towards you, that won't pay off until you hear the episode weeks later. So it's like we do need your response to like finish the loop.
Yeah.
Almost.
And Eric, that's why I still get surprised, is because when I'm working on it, I'm not thinking about the story. I'm thinking about the continuity of the sentence, So I'm not like...
That's what I was asking you.
Yeah. So it's not that my memory is that bad. It's just that it's normal bad.
That's fair.
Right. Nothing's funnier than when people are doing a re-listen, like when Julie and Amanda do a listen through before the episode comes out, and then one of them are like, "Oh, you seeded that," and I'm like, "Yes, I did."
I literally did that today, where I was like, "You son of a bitch! You mentioned it in this episode. Fuck you."
It's a hard balance because it's like I want to tease things for the 3 of you, but also we play a week separated too.
Yes.
So it's like everyone's having this issue of holding things, remembering things, writing things down. And then it's like, is this too hard for my players? Is it going to be super obvious on re-listen when the audience gets to it? Like sometimes I put in clues that I don't know you're going to pick up, or you do or you don't, and then I just see what happens,
No, it's very tough to guess, and I don't know how you do it, but it seems like you strike a perfect balance, because people notice things that I didn't put together, but also I notice enough to, like, make the conclusion, Yeah. Like, I feel like I catch, 75% of it, which feels just about right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about, like, Eska Island, right, is, like, well, did you know that an Eska's the little light bobbly thing on a
No.
anglerfish? Like, no.
Nope.
But at the same time, I think the three of you also super didn't trust what Hondo was doing. But like, what are you going to
Yeah.
do? Not
Not
continue?
go? Yeah.
Not go? That's the only thing that the characters have right now. And we got to finish the thing. So you can be
Right.
suspicious, but then also mandatorily, you got to participate in the current, not even like do what I say, but participate in the situation that's in front of you.
Not often though. You don't often put us on a thing where it feels like we have kind of one choice ahead of us. But it was, listen, all of us were excited to get treasure. We did get some amber. We also did almost get murdered. So it's
That's true.
yo ho ho.
It
Pirate's
happens.
life for me.
It happens.
All right, folks. Let's end here with some spoil the plank.
Woo! Avast
Avast ye!
First from Moss, what happened in that conversation, TM, between Amanda and Eric about Three Lips?
I don't know. There's a screenshot apparently, though.
Do we? Because you definitely took a screenshot of it, or you said you did at least.
I
I
did.
still don't think we've seen that screenshot.
No.
No.
No, players can now hear it, but people cannot yet.
Yeah, it was something that I didn't feel like we had to reveal.
Mhm.
So that's why we didn't put it in, unlike the other
Yeah.
thing.
A future after party, we're happy to go into it. Michelle Spurgeon, the question surgeon, do you guys think the keys are necessary to unlock whatever? What if you can't win them or steal them?
I don't like your attitude, Michelle.
Then we failed the main task, baby. Like,
I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't think of it. I haven't thought of it. I just got to plow ahead.
I don't know that we're gonna win or not. That's up in the air, but we're definitely gonna get the key.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. We're pirates. We'll get what we want.
By hook or by crook, you know?
We'll see.
And then finally, Eric, what the heck other kind of mini games are we going to play in the Bullseye Games?
I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, because it's exciting. But
Spoil the plank!
the
Spoil me! Spoil me! I had 2 coffees today.
There's a lot happening. This one is probably the most abstracted from what the actual game is. The precision thing of you playing celebrity for precisions. The other ones are going to have you involved because the whole thing about the team performance.
Mhm.
Troy's going to do some stuff with the other characters, and then we'll get there. We'll see what the duels are like.
So exciting. And one last spoil the plank from the question surgeon herself. Julia, was that the witch talking to you? Do you want to address who was talking to Cammy when you resuscitated Nonny?
I mean, it's in the transcript that I'm literally editing right now, and Eric and I talked about whether or not to include it, and like, yeah, it's Baba Rutabaga.
Yay!
Yeah.
Dat root veg.
That
Love it.
root veg.
Yeah, I don't think it's a secret. It was more like, hey, remember 10 episodes ago?
Yeah,
Like it definitely. I wasn't trying to hide it. It was just like a voice you hadn't heard for 10 episodes coming out of nowhere.
It's a voice we
but-
heard once. That was like 10 episodes ago.
A while
so-
ago, yeah.
But
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
listen
fine.
back, they are good and the same.
They're the same.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm sure that will come up later.
No, I'm sure that's not seeding anything particularly interesting or stressful.
No.
No,
Shout
not
out
at all.
to Mage Hand Mike and Mage Hand Press for the witch class. Hope you're all enjoying that. It's good. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Woo!
All right, folks. With that, there is some hot shit coming up the pike, coming over the horizon, perhaps,
Wow.
in this campaign for you. Thank you, as always, for giving us your questions, your thoughts, your reactions, your fan art. That has been off the chain recently. We have the best community in podcasting, and we are so grateful for you.
Hey, I like that.
Wow.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, until next time, everybody. You just say goodbye. That's all
Just
you do.
say the
We're right out of Frito chip scoops. I'm gonna go get some. Bye.
later.
My mom won't let me come outside, so I have to stay inside.
Well, there's one game you could play inside
Oh, what
with
is
just a 20-sided die in your imagination.
that? Is it like CeeLo?
Celebrity.
Oh, celebrity. I can win celebrity.
May your rolls trend ever upward.
I'll sing you a song that all green folk know. Until the water falls home. That only began 50 years ago. Until the water falls home. We seek the deep lake and a wish-granting salmon. Until the water falls home. So hoist up
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna close the door behind us because it also looks like the Babadook's gonna come out.
No!
I don't want the Babadook to come out. I would not like that.
I would love it.
Neither of your names really work with Babadook that well.
Yeah, Eric got some floral, like basketball short pattern shorts,
Ooh.
and they are very nice.
Very nice.
Brandon, you're a liar because the Amanda Duke works perfectly for that.
Well, that was the best one, but I was trying to do like Amanda Benda Babadook or something, like something fun, you know?
Okay, sure.
Well, there are some bloopers for you, Julia.
Okay.
A bibbity bobbity Duke.
Nice. That's good.
It's a good thing
That's
that
what Brandon
Eric's
said.
named Bibbidi Bobbidi.
Yeah, I made our wedding hashtag really hard, but we got through it. I think I have one more question before we get into gaming character. Where was it?
Please.
Got that one. I'm a little further than I normally am from my computer.
All good. Tell your eyes to get
I think
good.
that's good. I would love to, Julia.
That's what your glasses are there for.
Yeah, right?